You're watching this video right now because you can't get into flow when you're in games. And when I say flow, I mean a state where you're not distracted, you're not worried, you're not nervous about anything. The only focus you have is dominating what's in front of you. A state that you wish you can tap into at will. And I know how to help players get into this state, and here's why you should listen to me. My name is Coach Ross, and over the last 15 years, I've viewed basketball as a doctor of physical therapy, a strength and conditioning coach, a head coach of a team, a skills trainer, and a scholarship basketball player. This super wide view that I have has allowed me to do two things. The first thing is identify the problems that players actually have in games, and the second thing is identify the specific training required to overcome those problems. And I believe one of the biggest problems that players face in actual games is the problem of randomness. And ironically, me saying that might seem random to you, but here's an example to help you understand what I'm talking about. So everybody knows a player that can shoot like 20 shots in a row from the corner and make like 18 or 19 of them out of 20. But when they get to actual games, they shoot like 30% from three. The reason why this happens is because it's easy to get into a flow when you're shooting the same shot over and over again. There's no need to make a decision. There's no need for thought. You know you're gonna shoot the ball, and you know you're gonna do it multiple times in a row. In a game, however, you rarely know when you're gonna shoot it until just before it happens. You definitely don't shoot multiple shots in a row from the same spot. This just makes it way harder to get into flow for a given task. But like anything else, this is something that can be trained if you actually do the right things in your training. So if you're a player that can't get into flow during games, then you need to implement these 3 changes into your training. So let's get on the court and walk through each one. So the first thing you need to change is, instead of just doing blocked practice, you need to also do random practice. What is block practice? What is random practice? An example of block practice is if I were to just stand here and shoot 3,000 shots in a row from this one spot without changing anything about it. I don't change where I am, I don't change how I shoot it, I don't change anything about it. That's block practice. I'm doing the same thing repetitively over and over again. Who is this good for? This is good for warm-up, get into a flow during your training, something that could be good for beginners even. But you can see why it's easy to be good at this, right? Because if I'm just standing here shooting the ball over and over again, over time, I will get better at it. But then what happens in actual games? In actual games, I don't get 10 reps from the wing before I actually shoot it. I'm essentially cold. I'm not gonna shoot it for probably minutes at a time, and then I randomly, without knowing it, will get a shot from somewhere, and I will have to be in the best state possible to make that shot. During block practice, you don't have to worry about that. Block practice, you know you're gonna shoot it. It's a calm environment. I'm shooting a bunch in a row. It's not a lot of pressure to make the shot, not a lot of focus required. So how can we train for actual games when it comes to this idea of block versus random practice? We could do random practice. So random practice, an example, would be instead of just shooting from right underneath the rim from here, every single shot I take, I change where I'm shooting from. So I'll shoot from here, I'll shoot from here, I'll even shoot from here. And of course, you could do this with any type of training, any type of shooting training, handles, finishing. This is just a quick little example so that you understand it, but it can be with anything. So if any time you're doing something where you're just repping out one type of that thing, consider just switching it up every single rep or every 5 reps, or just make it a little bit more uncomfortable, a little bit more difficult for you to get into flow. Because guess what? If you could get into flow in a more difficult situation, when you're in the game, it's gonna be easier to feel good about shots that you haven't taken 3,000 times in a row before you shoot. So just to sum up, block practice, not bad at all, but you should at least consider including random type practice into your training, even if it's uncomfortable and even if you're less successful during those drills. So let's move on to the second thing you need to change in your training if you want to get into flow during games. So the second thing you need to change is, instead of just doing simple and easy drills like this, you have to do more complex training, or drills that are a little bit more challenging to add variability. So as you see him doing the Mikan drill right now, this is not challenging him, again, which isn't inherently bad. But if he only did this to improve his finishing ability, he would lack variability from rep to rep. This doesn't force him to try to find creative solutions to a problem. This is just getting him loose and again, could have some uses, but it lacks the randomness that will allow him to get into flow and be prepared for anything in actual games. So if you want a little bit more of that, you have to add challenge. What's an example of challenge? So, Alex, you're gonna come here. I'm gonna make it difficult for him to make even one rep, and this is gonna force him to find a solution in real time, which is what actually happens in games. You have to be able to use your instincts and find solutions in milliseconds. You have to be prepared for anything. So, Alex, you're gonna do backboard tap, net tap, backboard tap, reverse finish.
Net tap, backboard, reverse.
Yep. Banana boy, good job. So keep going, keep trying it on this side. So as you're gonna see, as you watch Alex do this, there's gonna be variation between how he goes from rep to rep. There's going to be reflexes that need to kick on if he's actually trying to be successful in a drill as challenging as this. Again, the challenge level is gonna depend on your skill, your ability, but for him, this is at the edge of his ability for finishing. He couldn't even get a shot up just now. So what does this tell me? This tells me that a drill of this caliber, a drill of this challenge, is going to force him to kick on last second reflexes to be able to handle problems that are happening that need to be fixed extremely quickly. Show them one more time, Alex. Net tap, backboard tap, reverse. Yep, so if he stays there in his finishing work, he will be prepared for things that require instincts and quick decision making, which will help him overcome that randomness, help him get into flow when he's in actual games instead of just training. So very simple, challenge your skill. That's number 2 for the things that you need to change in your training to get into flow. Let's get into the third and final thing that you should change about your training. Before we move on to number 3, just wanted to take a moment and say that we appreciate the support that this channel is getting. We're starting to make a lot more content and we're super excited about it. Keep giving us feedback about what you guys want more of, what you guys want less of, and that will be really helpful for us. Also want to point out that we have an entire app called the Good Drills app. It's in the link below in the description of this video, and it gives you everything you need if you want to jump higher, score more, dunk, dominate in actual games. Everything that we talk about on this channel, we have laid out in a step-by-step, phase-by-phase training system that gives you everything you need on the court, everything you need in the weight room. It's the complete basketball athlete and somebody that just wants to jump higher and dunk. It's all of our methods that we use in real life. So check that out if you're interested. Let's move on to the third and final thing you need to change in your training now. So the third and final thing that you need to change about your training is stop just practicing moves. So let's go through some pickups. So one dribble, I want you to pick the ball up at your ankles, finish at the rim. One dribble, pick the ball up to your ankles, finish at the rim. Go again, one dribble, pick the ball up. I want you to pick the ball up above your head, finish at the rim. One dribble, pick the ball. These are common types of drills that you see, not just about this, but about everything where you see players and trainers working on moves, working on pickups, working on different options. Again, definitely is not bad, it's not wrong. But if you don't include the decision-making process into those moves, they will not happen in the game. I promise you that. Practicing the moves by themselves stationary, there's a bunch of benefits, but it will not transfer to actual games unless you go live, trying to put yourself in situations where those moves are the solution and put yourself in situations where there's a decision-making component involved. I'm gonna give you one example of this specifically for this pickup option that I just showed, and we're gonna turn it into a live drill where you have to make a decision on it. So Alex, I'm gonna play defense. I have to stand in between these two cones. You're gonna start behind the 3-point line. You're gonna start in a crawl start, and then you're gonna lift the ball first. I want 2 dribbles. All you have is 2 dribbles. You have to pick the ball up before me and get through the cones. So you can't go outside the cones. Good, so I'm between the cones. You're in a crawl start, full acceleration. I'm here, I can't move till you get to me. No foul, good. No foul. So watch, very simple. I created a drill where he has to react to me, perceive me, and then he has to make a decision on how he's going to pick up the ball. We can go even further on this and add other defenders. We can add other people that are on Alex's team so that he has to make a decision if he even wants to do a pickup or if it's necessary for him to do a pickup. We can always get a little bit more specific for that, but that's beyond the scope of this video. But as you can see, live drills. If you're in a game, you're thinking about yourself in a game, all the times you've done a pickup, you decide you do a pickup or how you do a pickup or what pickup you decide to do just before it happens. You don't get in line for a drill and get to think about how well you're about to do this pickup. No, that doesn't happen. You have like a second or less to decide if you're gonna do a pickup, how you're gonna do the pickup, and what you do after the pickup. So that's just one example. Again, this idea of live training being important for the decision-making process is extremely important for any part of your game, not just pickups, for your entire game, shooting, ball handling, dribbling, pass, everything, right? This is just one example I could show you quickly. All right, so that's it for this video. Implement those 3 things in your training. And again, for any of these videos that you watch on this channel, you can take what's useful for you and you could throw away what's not useful or applicable to you. We're just trying to give you everything that we give all of the players that we work with to get them dominating on their teams and in actual games and achieving the goals that they have for themselves. But if things aren't useful or applicable to you, throw them away. And the things that are, take them, use them how they need them. We're just giving you our perspective on training because we have a ton of combined experience here in Good Drills. But that's it for this video, so make sure to both like and subscribe to the channel. And again, like I mentioned earlier, leave us some comments. Leave us what you want more of, what you want less of, the things that are providing the most value for you, and we'll make sure to really hone in on those things. We're really trying to target complete basketball athletes and people that want to jump high or dunk, all of that. See you in the next one.